Hey, aloha, friends and family. Um, this is the Rockefeller Foundation Scenario for Future Technology and International Development. The Rockefeller Foundation is a think tank, and what they do is they come up with scenarios, and they sell these to the U.S. government and big corporations, essentially predicting the future, what to prepare for. So it gets really interesting. So this is it's from directly from the Rockefeller Foundation website. It is a PDF that I downloaded. You can get it on the web. And there's a letter from Judith Rodin, who's the president of the Rockefeller Foundation, as well as from Peter Schwartz, who's the chairman of Global Business Network, which is really important. You have the chairman and co-founder of the Global Business Network coming up with these scenarios of predictions, and you'll see the importance of that later. So on page 18, well, let's go to page 14. No, let's go to page 18. On page 18 of the document, this is a scenario narrative. Okay? A world of tighter top-down government control and more authoritarian leadership with limited innovation and growing citizen pushback. So when they come up with these scenarios, they talk in the past tense as if they already happened. This thing was published in 2010, and now they're talking about 2012 as if it already happened. So you can read here, it says the pandemic that the world has been anticipating for years finally hit, as if no one was anticipating anything. I think everyone was positing that there could be one, but that's not reality, where everyone is on the edge of their seat anticipating a pandemic. So anyway, the pandemic finally hit. Unlike the H1N1, this new flu strain originating from wild geese was extremely virulent and deadly. Even the most pandemic-prepared nations were quickly overwhelmed when the virus streaked around the world, infecting nearly 20% of the global population and killing 8 million people in 7 months. And then it had deadly effect on economies. International mobility of both people and goods screeched to a halt, debilitating industries like tourism, breaking global supply chains. Even locally, normally bustling shops and office buildings sat empty for months, devoid of both employees and customers. That's exactly what we saw. And then it goes on to say that the pandemic blanketed the planet. And then it says the United States' initial policy of strongly discouraging citizens from flying proved deadly in its leniency, accelerating the spread of the virus not just within the U.S. but across borders. However, a few countries did fare better, China in particular. The Chinese government's quick imposition and enforcement of mandatory quarantine for all citizens, as well as its instant and near hermetic sealing off of all borders, saved millions of lives, stopping the spread far earlier than other countries, enabling a swifter post-pandemic recovery, which is exactly what happened. So it goes on to explain things, the effects of the pandemic, which are eerily accurate. I guess that is their job in predicting these things, but it was very, very accurate. So headlines in lockstep. So quarantine restricts in-person contact. Cellular networks overloaded. That didn't happen. International trade hit by strict pathogen controls. And then it goes on. Let's see. I don't think there's anything important there. So lockstep is essentially saying that strict authoritarian control is needed to control the spread of a virus. So that's exactly what we're seeing here. Now here's the other scary thing. We go down to page 34. Now we're talking about predictions. This is another scenario called Hack Attack. Economically unstable and shock-prone world in which governments weaken, criminals thrive, and dangerous innovations emerge. So they talk about technology, okay? And then here's the scary thing. How it is eerily relevant. The dire circumstances forced through trade-offs. In 2015, the U.S. reallocated a large share of its defense program or defense spending to domestic concerns, pulling out of Afghanistan, where the resurgent Taliban seized power once again. And then in Europe, Asia, South America, Africa, more and more nation states lost control of their public finances. So it's really interesting. And I encourage you to download it and read the entire thing, because it's prescient. And there's more in here that they are predicting will happen and how they respond to these things. So this isn't a coincidence that they were spot on. These things, these scenarios as they present them, they are glimpses into the future to help businesses cope with what is to be. So I'll leave it at that. Check it out for yourselves. Download it. It's just Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development by the Rockefeller Foundation. And if you want some other really good reading material, download Agenda 2021 and then also Agenda 2030. And there's very similar scenarios in here which will paint a picture of what our very near future is going to look like. So that's about it. Thanks. Aloha.